Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There we go.
It's
Good.
it is. It's-
Call the meeting to order. IDA will start with. I'd like a motion to approve the October 28th, 2025 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed, left. Good. Okay, let's move on to number 3.
Alright, so number 3 is, this is an assignment and project authorization resolution. About a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we approved, the grant building pilot project. That was for filers to have a warehouse across the street from their commercial business. They put it up for sale recently and, so our Ask Property Capital Group has, put an initial offer to buy the property. And they would like, and this resolution would help extend the pilot project. They would get a sales tax and mortgage tax exemption through this, but the pilot would continue on from the grant building pilot project. And so we do have Justin here. He's from Rochester Structural. That will be the business that will be located at the spot. So we just invited Justin to give a little background on his project and what he would be doing at this site. Justin, you are on mute right now?
Yep, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So my business, just a little history about it. My father started my business in 1982, so we've been in business basically the same age as I am, so 43 years. And I took over the business in 2018, and we just began to, grow our sales since then. So right now we have our location is in the city of Rochester at Lyle Ave, and we're looking to find a second location. In full disclosure, we've been looking all over New York State, into Pennsylvania a little bit, Northern Ohio, where we do a lot of our work. I'd say 80% of our work is in New York. The other 20 is probably in Northern Ohio, just south of Corning, Northern Pennsylvania, just south of Corning, and out towards Erie and just west of Buffalo into Ohio and Pennsylvania. So our plan would be to, purchase the property, and we would then, we have some CNC equipment that we would be putting in there and installing. Over the first year, we'd be getting the plant ready for use, basically for us to be able to do what we do in there. We would need to hire a plant foreman or, shop foreman. We would need a CNC operator to operate the drill line and the saw. That would all be, definitely in the first year. And then by, the second year, we would be looking to put another fabricator in there that would also be cross-trained to run that CNC machine. And then in the third year, we would be looking to put a second fabricator to have another guy on the floor with him. And over the 5-year course, we're probably going to need to expand our project management, and I would be hiring a project manager to work out of that office. Just a little history on our company. We do structural steel and miscellaneous steel manufacturing, and then we also go out to the field and put the steel up. So, we've done all the steel on the Corning Museum of Glass, about 10 years ago when they did the big expansion. Bausch and Lomb had a big expansion back in 2018 or 19, I think it was, and we did the steel for that. So basically we put up the skeleton of the building, or we also do bridge rehab and bridge work as well. So, again, we would be turning the plant into a manufacturing plant in hopes to support our growth over the next coming years.
Sounds good. Anyone have any questions for
Justin, you're planning on keeping the Lyle Ave location?
We unfortunately/fortunately, we are locked into the Lyle Ave location until 2032. and I did that before we knew we were expanding and stuff like that. And I just wanted to lock in the rates we had with the old owner because I didn't know how soon or when we would find a place or where to go. So there is the opportunity over the next 3 years to wherever we, open our second location to work with Jensen Engineering and come up with an expansion that would maybe start in about 3 years, so that way it would be done in about 5 to 6 years, so that we could move our Lyle Ave shop to be on the same property and have all operations under one roof / property. So yes, there is that option and we are looking at that. But right now we're just trying to get a second shop to support our growth, and then that is further down the line. We got about 3 years because I am stuck in the Lyle Ave property until 2032. So
Justin, is the property big enough to consolidate both spaces now? You have to.
yeah, so I'd have to do an expansion. And so the property right now is on 5 acres. So it should be big enough. And my shop in the city is almost identical to size of this shop. So it'd basically just be like, double the manufacturing space. We wouldn't need any more office space. There's plenty of office space in the Macedon property. It would just be doubling the square footage of the shop space.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, and just to let you know that this one, we don't need to do a public hearing for this one because the pilot was already approved. It's just making an adjustment due to the fact that they're taking over the pilot from the grant building.
No other questions, I make a motion to approve the resolution?
I have some questions, but I didn't want to ask you in front of Justin.
Okay,
So we could mute it for a minute?
Justin, we're gonna
Hello?
You got a quick video.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Are we okay to go ahead with the vote on this?
You-
I'll
is there
make
a
motion to approve it.
Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's been approved.
Julie, did you vote? There was a motion to approve, just making sure.
And I
We got a
second.
motion
I
and a second. You approve? Okay.
Alright, Justin, thank you very much.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Thank you
it,
for investing in Lake
and
County.
we'll touch base about
Yes.
the next steps and when you're ready to close on the property.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Aye. Okay, move on to fiscal officers.
Yes, so fiscal officers report, with the bank statements, you'll notice our general, IDA account is a little bit, larger than normal. That's merely because the fact that that was when we sent out the pilot checks, so next month you'll probably see it back to normal, which is, just around 1 million, so that should be changing, throughout the month. The only other update is, in, I guess we also discussed this in October as well, we do have the new CD account that ended in September, and so we have a new account that also started in September, so that is there as well. And our money market is continuing to do well. And then with the IDA projects, we're doing really well on budget. Again, this month, a lot of it has been just the changes of sending out the checks to the municipalities and us, and then that being withdrawn from our account. So that's basically it for the fiscal officer report for this month.
Any questions? I will move on to the product updates.
Few things, Arnold, if you don't mind giving everyone maybe just a few minutes on ACT and where we
For
are.
this meeting, or,
Sure,
Yeah.
right now.
okay, sure. So, it's been a few months since I've been able to be here and give you guys updates, so just so you know, Brian and I, as you have heard, this year we've been doing a ton of work focusing on workforce development, especially given the feedback that we have gotten from the business community about the challenges that business owners are having finding workers, and so the big focus project is the ACT Work Ready Community certification that we are moving forward on. As I'm sure he has already told you, this is a regional effort that has already been moved along in Monroe County. So currently, Oswego County, they are certified. What happens when you move towards a certification is you submit an application and then you're entered essentially into the program, and you work with the staff of ACT to set goals, and those goals are around population for the county. They relate not only to the number of people that you are hoping to get to take tests, but also the number of businesses that you want to get buy-in from. So there's different groups, there's 4 total. The other groups are separated by where they are in their journey as to whether or not they are like a student, or there's somebody that's older that's kind of maybe out of work but looking for work, that sort of thing. And so in terms of how things have been going, regionally we've been meeting together to kind of figure out how can we consolidate efforts. There's been discussion about financing, which partners will be needed, because obviously if you are offering tests, you have to have a place to offer those tests. You have to have staff that will be there that will administer the test. And then there is the matter of the cost of the tests. They're not very expensive, they're $14 per test, and it's a battery of 3 tests, but regionally it was kind of discussed that if the tests were made to be available either for free or at a much lower cost, that it would improve outcomes in terms of the number of people that would be taking the tests. So there's been discussion around other buy-in from partners who would be willing to provide a little financing for that. There's also been discussion about a regional coordinator, staffing somebody who can work on these things, because even though in this county, you know, Brian and I have decided that my staff time is gonna be focused on this right now, other counties have different priorities, and so while we've gotten fairly good feedback from the other counties, there is still a question of how they are gonna be able to exactly do that, or who in the organization would do that.
I'll jump in just to bring some, try to summarize things a little. So it's a partnership. BOCES has effectively taken the lead on behalf of the school district, so that kind of creates this sort of regional approach, if you will, based on your BOCES district. Finger Lakes Community College also very engaged in this and have completely bought in and are very interested in playing a role. So generally speaking, the rules are we need pipelines for students to take tests and be encouraged to take tests to provide that, to earn that credential. And then the business side on the acceptance of the credential and buying to the program. So our role within this whole system, we're not administering tests, we're not providing test centers, BOCES and community college will provide that pipeline and those test center locations. But our part and our role, not even just overall moving forward with the process, but really is engaging with businesses, describing the program, and getting them to buy into the credentials, so.
So would there be a component where you would actually have somebody who would assess the business requirements and say like, okay, here's how you should interpret and utilize the test to get the best outcomes? I mean, it seems like you'd have to have somebody there sort of as an intermediary to connect everything up with the end user.
So with regard to the businesses specifically and how they, I mean, because right, it's intuitive to understand that the goal is for the businesses to buy into this and to understand what that means and what you're getting out of somebody who has taken this test. And so Brian and I have talked about that too. Technically, their base requirement is that they go either online or they can fill out a piece of paper that says they're buying in. But as to what that's gonna mean for us in Wayne County and what what that really means for businesses will require some give and take. So one thing that has been discussed is that we are looking to have a summit in Wayne County where we would gather together not only businesses but also educators so that we could talk to everybody about answer questions, explain the program to them, and of course that would happen one-on-one as I'm reaching out to businesses, but to have everybody in a room in that type of format, we feel like would be a really good jump start for the program. So as to where we are right now, we have prepared an application to submit to officially enter in as a community that has prioritized this. That doesn't mean we would be certified. From the moment that you submit your application, you have a period of 2 years to, that's like a goal mark for meeting your goals. And so, all that is to say, this is the sort of thing that is a process, and as to.
Well, so just to, I think your question, so there's a process to say, here's my job, here's the ACT gamut of things reading comprehension, math, these things, and to sync up scores within different categories and jobs. So there's a process between the business and the ACT scoring mechanism to match a job with a particular goal score, if you will, on particular metrics. So that, if I scored the example I use is if my job is incredibly relevant to math, but reading comprehension is not so big, I know the
Weighting, distribution,
all that stuff. Yes, there's a back and forth process with particular jobs the employer is looking to sync up with the scores that ACT is or the categories
Right.
within the ACT scoring rubric. ACT, as you guys know, is, college readiness, like the SAT. I'm encouraged by this whole idea of workforce readiness and using this as a path to demonstrating that
Right.
for this.
I know right now, there's a process I use with WTCC, BOCES, and they do a great job. Every year they have the businesses for AME, so we all go and we talk to the instructors. And one of the things that as I've been on this annual meeting every year, I really need TIG welders. They weren't doing that much with TIG, but I'm doing a lot of TIG with stainless steel. So talking to all of us, they got experts in to now teach the kids TIG. So that process is working, and I don't know if you're familiar with what they're doing with the AME program at WTCC, but I think it'd be a good kind of tie to see how they're doing it, because then they're constantly, I give them a lot of credit. The instructors are constantly asking me, especially when I have a kid come in, how are they doing? What are they doing? Is there something they need more? It's always math. They know how to measure, don't cut too short, stuff like that. But they're always looking for stuff. So I am very happy with how I'm sourcing my students, the student side of it. Now, if you look at the Department of Labor and people that are looking for work, that's a different story. They never reach out to me and say, hey, what are you, because I'd be interested in that too, because there may be, probably not, because it's such a demanding job now, but if there's a lead fabricator or something that does went on layout, I would love to know that, right? So that would be a gap for me in my area. I'm just talking to me personally, but I really do love how BOCES is handling it.
Yeah, I'll say,
They're phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, they're doing a great job.
I'll say FLCC also very engaged, and I
Yeah.
had the opportunity to go over there and they have their virtual welding,
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I want to get over it.
Impressive, but I think all this helps with,
Yeah.
with the partners engaged now,
Yeah.
coordination and pulling some of these threads together, and I think this is a great path to helping bring FLCC's workforce development programs, employer demand,
Yeah.
kind of getting,
Kind of like MCC and
Yeah.
Optimax have been.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, it
that's a
works
good
great.
example.
I wanna mention one other thing, which is that, another thing that Brian and I were talking about last week is that, something that Monroe County did was they kind of put together a one-pager to send out to businesses, kind of like as an overview. They've been into their process a little bit longer, but, I'm working on creating a one-pager to send out to the businesses within our county, and then I just had one other thought, which is that this past week we had the Pathways to Prosperity event that was put on by community schools. And one of the main ideas around that is that there's never one single way to accomplish something. And so in terms of our goal here, which is to improve the pipeline so that students, when they are getting ready to be employed, or just somebody that's maybe a little bit longer along the road in terms of trying to find the right career for them, there's gonna be lots of ways that we can accomplish that goal, and ACT is just one of them. And we are working on a lot of other things, a lot of other ways to ensure that, and working with a lot of other partners that are also doing this, and that is a really important thing. We're only just one group, and Brian says this all the time, we are just here to, assess what's going on and see where we can do our part in terms of what we can bring to the table.
I was just with Michelle Sullivan from BOCES the other day. She's very, I didn't mean to chuckle, but my granddaughter was scared to death of that lady. Michelle, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah, she was scary back then.
Good, yeah.
But she was a principal that took no crap from. I walked around her side if you know that.
Look at middle school.
She was a great, Carly loved her cycling.
Yeah. So she's very, very
I know
interested
what
in
shows.
during the day, I just hop in the building and she'd be walking around her sock feet, I don't know.
I think it's like she's almost 6 foot tall, she turned it.
Yeah, she's trying to keep short.
Keep it low.
But very, very, so very, if you're engaging with her, I think that's fantastic. The other is, you guys talked at all to our workforce development department
Many
in the
times.
county.
Several times, yeah.
I'd like to follow up
Have
on
a
these
plan to
conversations
That would
because,
be good.
because
Because that's their main role.
I'm still trying to figure out what they do. So-
We should, let's have a,
But that's a
we
good
met
point.
with them quite a bit, and Department of Labor, and
That's
yeah,
kind of where I was
let's,
going.
let's
Because we would, as business owners, we would like to know where those people are.
Yeah.
Because we have other stuff we're working on, right? So when I'm spending all my time trying just to get somebody in, and I'm spending weeks, sometimes months, it's a big pull. So it'd be nice if we could
When it
coordinate
was
all that.
trying to figure out who could be the intermediary, they just
Well, and that's the
come to
thing.
money. It's-
The other is, for what it's worth, the guy that built the MCC Workforce Development Program, Tom Fitch, do you guys use him for appraiser? His wife maybe?
Possibly.
Used to be Gordon Walker.
Yeah.
Anyway, he retired from MCC, and so I've thought about having him come and look at our workforce development program,
Yeah.
just to evaluate it, see what can we do better. As far as I know, he still lives towards Walworth or Williamson. What's that?
Can you find him?
Tom?
No. Workforce
Our workforce development.
It's in the DSS building. That's, yeah. But anyway, no, this is a huge area, and as we think about
Yeah.
future opportunities in the county, this is, you can build the most beautiful shop if you can't find somebody to put it together.
Exactly,
That can work.
exactly right.
Yeah, I think it's so important to get across to these students and their families that you don't need a 4-year degree to get a good job.
You
There
don't.
are a
We
lot
need
of good jobs.
It's so true, right?
We need to get to the middle school.
We do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Catch them, that's where you gotta catch them kids.
When I was younger and
For BOCES.
doing other stuff and let's say talking to Ken about his kids going, futures, higher education was the only, pretty much what everybody's pushing. I was pushing it. I gotta tell you, now I'm not saying completely flipped, because for certain things you still need those degrees if you wanna be an engineer, a nurse, a doctor, run reliant credit union. I mean, there's certain things you need those, but boy, oh boy, I mean, the opportunity in the trades in the next 20 years in this county, it's there right now.
And the
You gotta wait 20
salaries
years.
have gone
Yeah.
up, like, a lot, believe me.
And the demand of people who need that, not only businesses, but consumers need
Absolutely.
electricians and
Yeah.
plumbers.
Well, and so this is a different place, and I think this sounds like a really great program, but again, in my mind, to some degree, it's almost reinventing the wheel, because the military's been doing this with the ASVAB forever. So, I mean, that was such a good way for kids to realize that here's where my aptitudes lead, I should look at jobs in this area. So it's too bad, and I actually had I think 2 out of my 3 kids took the ASVAB just for that sole reason, is to find out if are there other things that you're really good at you don't even realize. And so I think the school never embraced that like they should.
No,
Like, it doesn't mean you need to go in the military, but you can use this as a tool to help
It's a tool.
you dial in where you should be looking as
Yeah.
far as even your college interest.
I will
So we-
say that this conversation is what I hear all over the place, and I think the main challenge that I'm hearing is how to work with the schools, because they are short-staffed. They do have a lot of responsibilities and things that they're having to do to meet state requirements, and so that is just a difficulty for everybody to come together to work with the schools. But I will say, like a bright light is the change in requirements at the state level. They're switching to what's called portrait of a graduate, and there has been a lot of discussion around what exactly that will mean and how the schools will go about doing that. And I don't know how much you know about it, but there's a shift away from regents, and how in lieu of regents, you can just take tests, and this could be, the ACT can be a natural filler for that. So and I need to do a little bit more research, but essentially the idea is they don't necessarily have to take the regents, but there has to be some way, some measurement of their skills. And so this is just a really, it comes at an opportune moment where it would allow the school, it would take something off the school's plates versus giving them something extra to do, which I have found is really crucial if you're trying to work with the schools, where you are, anytime time they're having to do something extra, it's just so hard for them.
Have you gotten on the, I think I talked to you about this,
The
on the
supervisors?
superintendents, you need to do that.
I
That is
did get
a
to talk
must.
to some.
Because
at
the
meeting
problem you've
last
got with
week.
those superintendents is you might get 2 or 3 that are hot for it and will do it, and the rest of them will not. But if you get them in a group at their meeting and you start touting this stuff and they each play on each other, they'll help to drive each other in that direction. Because I had one heck of a time with the edge factor.
Yeah.
I took time to go around off my calendar to talk to superintendents individually, and a couple schools picked it up and they used it, but I could never get SOTUS, which is the one my daughter goes to. They would listen to me and then puff it off. So I really do believe, at talking to a couple of other superintendents, that if we wanna drive something into the schools, that's the place to do it.
I agree.
Matt Barr ran the Flint BOCES.
So, and that's,
So-
you have, cause then they get
Like
together,
one.
they convince with each other, and they're at the
And
table.
they don't wanna be outdone by the other.
Exactly, but when I tried to do it individually, it wasn't working.
To your
Directing,
point, Kay, last week at this meeting, cause I was there too, there were 3 superintendents present. And it was 4, we all went.
Who was
Yeah.
there?
So see, I
Matt.
mean,
So does Red Creek and Wolcott, I think,
Yes.
which is surprising.
so they're not even attending their own meeting, basically, is that what you're saying?
This wasn't, it was 4 community schools.
Oh, okay.
So, but it.
I'm saying you infiltrate their meeting.
No, I
you
know
I'm
what you're saying, but to your point, they were all invited, there were only 3 there.
Yeah, okay,
It's like it's the
Yeah.
extra, so
Yeah.
really I think it needs to happen at the state level, cause
Yeah.
make it a state mandate, and then they have to do it.
Yeah.
So this process you're talking about with
Because
the
that's what
non-regions,
stuff is.
when some of us went to school, that existed. And they got rid of that about 25 years ago, everybody had to get regions. There was always another track,
Yeah.
for students.
Yeah.
And they got rid of that because they were so smart. I see they're back, that's good to see. I would just encourage, again, I think that the superintendents that will go with it, let's fire them up. I mean, I'm certainly willing to get engaged. Those ones we're talking about are all friends of mine, be glad to fire them up.
I think that's great. This will be an ongoing
Yeah.
thing we'll bring to you guys. It's certainly, having BOCES as a part of it bodes well to
That's
the
correct, that's
regions and the
correct.
school districts,
That's correct.
right? Because they're
Yeah.
representing them all.
Yeah.
I think there's a really solid path in front of us here. It's gonna take some work though, to everyone's point. So we'll continue to work at this and advance things forward.
It's a big deal.
I'll try to keep things moving. I got a few things here and we can go into EDC and I can give you a few other updates. But on the IDA side of things, we did issue an RFP, received responses for completion of our county water and wastewater study. Katie, myself, and Eli on the planning staff interviewed those responders on Monday. We're working through a process of evaluating those responses and considering their interviews, and our plan is to bring you guys a resolution authorizing selection of the contractor next month.
Did you get several?
We had 3 responses, they were all good firms, good qualified responses, so it's a little work to work through the nuances and start to figure out exactly what things are gonna get the job done well. But encouraged by all the discussion we had with all of the responders, this is important, and just walking through it with them and having them, describe their understanding of our request, the scope of work, is very encouraging to think about, how important this is in the mix, not only on the economic development side, I said this several times. On the economic development side of things, understanding water capacity is important for a lot of different things, in particular attraction projects, but I think this will help serve everybody in a lot of different ways. Updating land use strategies, understanding local capacity, understanding where service is, where the bottlenecks are, and where a path towards improvement to accommodate not only economic development projects, but we're talking a lot about housing and other things, so getting all this kind of comprehensively pulled together, I think is a step in not only the right direction for economic development, but a lot of planning on the county side, planning on the local side. I think we'll have a really good project coming out of it.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Was data engineering one of the 3 responses that you got?
No.
Because they're highly qualified to do a project like that.
They didn't respond.
They're kind of small now, but they're a very, very good company for this. They did Xerox for 30, 40 years, they did their wastewater studies. We're very qualified.
MRB Group, CPL, and Wendell were the three firms who responded.
I think I've heard of them before.
Wendell's got offices all over. The office I'm most familiar with is in Buffalo, but. Last, at this board's request, I'm excited to let you know, so Friday, November 21st, 8:30 at Ravenwood, we are looking to convene IDA leadership and board members to have some coffee, breakfast, brief conversation. You guys got my calendar invite. If you're planning on attending, please let me know. Give them a head count, but I had the chance at RG&E's Geneva division to run into a few other IDA directors and they are planning on attending and bringing some board members. I've not talked to all 9 counties, but I want to pass that.
Do you have an agenda for the meeting?
No,
Is
great.
it simply networking like we've talked about?
For the most part, I think there'll be some brief presentations, if you will, or maybe some talking points to bring up for additional discussion, but no formal long-term plan. I kind of think of it similar to the real estate practice,
Yeah.
the real estate.
I mean, you know, I've been wanting this, I just haven't responded yet, cause I'm supposed to be out of town that day, so I'm waiting to see if I can squeeze it in.
I'll try to make this part of a regular thing that we can do.
So if I miss this one, there'll be another
I
one.
will do, 9 counties, 9
Cause
county,
it's really important, I
9
think.
county ID
No, I
directors,
think
board
it's a
members.
Great.
Like, a bit like herding cats, as you guys, I'm sure understand, but we'll-
And all these 9 counties are all members of GRE, and GRE is having the hosting it, is that the right interpretation?
GRE is helping host.
Oh, they're helping.
I'm not sure I could say all 9 are, most of them, if not all of them, I couldn't say off the top of my head if they're all members of Greater Rochester Enterprise, but we all work with and through Greater Rochester Enterprise, one way or the other, member or not. They are here to represent the 9 counties and seems like a logical path to bring them in and say, hey, help me herd the cats, help with communication among the 9 counties. So we have date and place. Hopefully Ravenwood's a pretty accessible place just off the thruway, so not too difficult when you're talking about 9 counties and a pretty wide geographic region.
Brian, I was gonna ask, I had heard about, I have to get more detail on it, but NYSEG and RG&E are gonna hold like a forum down at Williams Hobart Smith.
Well,
December 1st.
Okay, so you guys are aware of that. So yeah, they're supposed to be talking about their plans, their strategies,
Yeah.
expansion of the grid. I heard it when I was in a meeting in Ontario County, so I had to run from this thing, so I just wanna make sure you guys were aware of it.
I did share
And
some.
then we can get some information to any of us that would like to go to it.
Sure.
Because I think it'll be, especially for those that are interested in what they're doing, it sounds like it's gonna be a pretty good meeting. I'm gonna try to get there. And when was it? It's December
December
something.
1st.
Okay,
In that vein, Mark and I and Katie from the Land Bank and were at, so the NYSEG RG&E did what they call a Geneva Division Summit last week. I shared my notes from that meeting. Interesting, not a lot of new news, I'll say, but I mean, NYSEG RG&E they make a good case. I'll say I think there are some nuances that they leave out, but clearly, how do I say this concisely, I would say historically a lack of investment, historically a significant increase in usage and demand for not only on the distribution side, but on the generation side. And I think it's universally recognized at this point. Question is how to get there. And NYSEG RG&E with their rate case plan, and what they propose to do lays out their approach and strategy. There's always a negotiation point to all of this. Modified approaches, I would say, as far as a 3-year, that NYSEG is looking at a 5-year plan, which is a little outside of what's been done historically. But a lot of hurdles to cross. And the Public Service Commission, the New York ISO, and the concern and interest in reliability as the primary, I think has left some of the future planning stuff to the wayside, but there are discussions being had now. Now, does it get us to the solution that we need? I'm not sure. We're talking billions of dollars of investment here, and I think it's gonna end up having to take a real hard look from the state side and NYSERDA and the other funding resources that may or may not be available. And then frankly, my perspective, I would say it's gonna take a considerable amount of federal support to modernize the grid, not only in New York, but across the country. So happy to continue to talk about that, Mark. I don't know if you have.
Yeah, just one of my takeaways, which is, again, from a guy that's been around for a while. In the old days, when RG&E owned everything, you know, they would build so people would come, right? So they expanded the capability, the capacity. Now, NYSEG, RG&E are the exact opposite. Now that Iberdrola owns them, it's like, okay, have them come and then we'll build it. Well, it doesn't work.
They said
Because it takes them 5 years to build it.
If they're here, we can maintain
Right.
it, is what they said, and not if you build it, they will come. It's kind of been their approach.
So I think we really, I think, not just us, but I think, you know, whether it's the state or whatever, is they're trying to influence NYSERDA and NYPA and all those guys. They're really focused on this tech corridor. And so from our perspective here in Wayne County is, we can't be part of that tech corridor until they expand what's available here. So that's that big push at the state level. And we need to push the state to do that. But there's a little appetite for that at the state level, but where's the money gonna come from? The state's never been in worse shape, right? So how do we figure that out?
I will add just one other comment on this. They did briefly talk about natural gas, and they said New York State has a best-in-class gas distribution system when compared to other systems in the country. So take that for what it's worth. Abandoning the natural gas distribution system that is best in class is, in my opinion,
Crazy.
maybe.
Very crazy.
I was avoiding the word crazy, but sure.
Yeah.
It really, that there was, they mentioned, and I will look to find, I have not seen this yet, but NYSEG RG&E did complete a future of natural gas study. I don't know, Mark, if you've seen that yet or not, but they did mention it. I will track that down when I can. And I'll also just add last thing, I have been meeting regularly with NYSEG RG&E economic development staff and making sure they're aware of, through our business park analysis and other, maybe not formal business parks, but at the moment, our priority areas for economic growth. Open to adding to that list, it's not, certainly not static, dynamic, and things change, the world turns, things here, opportunities create themselves or become available. I'm interested in working with municipalities on saying, if there are target areas for growth, communicating with the utility along the way is an important part of the process. And trying to facilitate that, interested in continuing to facilitate that. So whoever you're talking to along the way here, keep that in mind. And the more information we're getting at the local level, and this comes down to other planning things, right? Updating comp plans, industrial zone land, all the things that you guys probably hear me talk about on things we need and at the local level to help us move forward on initiatives that we're focused on.
What I will say is, so Brian and Pam have been very supportive of getting rid of this natural gas thing. The county came out against it, the board of supervisors. They're on record as being against it, but you guys are pretty influential business people in the county, and Brian know you all pretty well. Just that little nudge saying, hey, this natural gas thing's going away, right?
But could I ask you a question? This has long been the position of RG&E. They are the gas and they are the electric, and they were allowed to have a monopoly because they are who they are. It was a legal monopoly.
Right.
So, in my opinion, they took over NYSEG. They have a very large electric powerhouse, and they can leverage that and the supply of that to facilitate whatever they wanna do on the gas side. So what's pushing this gas thing? Because I have a feeling it has like political roots, and nothing we can do
Talk about
is gonna change the idea that they're leveraging their power on the electric side and on the gas side to to make this what they want it to be.
I think it goes beyond RG&E, and this is politics at the state level. This is, you know, the governor and the extremists, quite honestly, pushing for all electric.
But that's,
And
it's
they realize,
New York City,
well, guess
right?
what?
If I could,
They have-
yeah.
yeah, but New York City controls the legislature.
And they
This-
use a lot of gas.
This came up in
Right.
the real estate,
Oh, they couldn't live without it,
Right.
believe me.
Right.
There's a new gas line going in,
yeah,
from Pennsylvania to New York City.
Yeah.
Like, it just got approved.
if you
So-
had,
Because there's more than, what's a 7-story building or some business like that, they can still use the gas?
Yeah, so it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. I don't even care if we're recorded. It is. It's just, there's a huge gas line coming in from Pennsylvania to New York City. Just got approved in the last couple of days.
So,
the,
I'm like, what can we do, other than just try to,
so,
I
when
think just
this came up at the
keep
real
the
estate,
conversation going.
this came up at the real estate breakfast, Pam was there, and what's mandating, the CLCPA, which is law in New York, is kind of driving the ship here. What needs to happen is a change to the law. The law won't change unless the legislature takes action, and Pam's comments were to us, the county, and everyone locally, pass a resolution, not directing the government, directing the legislature to take action on the CLCPA. Because that law needs to change for things to change. Judge, this has been vetted by courts and all sorts of things, in order to delay, modify any of the gas mandate stuff, the law has to change, the law won't change unless the legislature approves it. And to your point on, it's a representative legislature, and a lot of the population in New York is downstate, and CLCPA adoption and any potential changes to the law are really going to be driven by representatives.
And I think Pam did a great job bringing clarity to the issue, but also when someone in the room asked for, can we have a coordinated effort for a resolution, well, you know, and Pam's like, no, what you wanna do is this. I think that this group could be part of, you know, educating what businesses need to be doing right now, to lobby.
There are some particulars around lobbying and IDAs that have to vet that a little bit. There are some laws that restrict IDAs from
No laws in
lobbying.
educating.
Nope, I agree, it's in line, but
Or sending a resolution, you're stating your position.
the board,
That wouldn't be lobbying, right? Lobbying is when you hire somebody. The guy hired Ken Van Fleet to go out and go to the legislature, and
he could handle it.
he does very well with it. We've done it before
so
together.
I mean, well, so two things. One, we'll consider bringing you guys a resolution next month with the appropriate language that we can pass on. I have reached out to Kim, if there's a way I can help with the county stuff, I know you're on top of it, but
Sometimes you have some person.
no, well,
We gotta get to the
I mean,
people.
Yeah.
if there's something going into next month, I talked to Pam, she grabbed me after the meeting and said, hey, if you can help the county and, you know, get that kind of resolution, and in particular, again, and she emphasized that language, directing the legislature to take action on the CLCPA. I'll look to engage you with you guys.
January is gonna be here.
Yeah,
Okay.
very,
You know,
very
the way
soon.
she speaks about it, if there isn't movement in January, I mean, there's no
The-
way they're gonna be ready by the February 1st deadline. So it's pointless, but they have to roll it, she wants the governor to roll it back.
So again, in New York City, there's not gonna be a lot of new building.
Right.
This doesn't affect them. You know, existing buildings don't fall under this.
Yeah.
It's saying this new housing we're gonna do.
And that
That's-
answers the question I had in a
that's
prior
right.
meeting, it makes existing buildings worth more money because they have infrastructure.
Yeah.
And that's that power of Xerox, that whole 300-acre Xerox complex. Look at all that beautiful
It's crazy.
Yep.
industrial space, $9 million from the state to separate the utilities. Webster's gonna kill it with separating out that property and attracting manufacturers.
If there's no power.
Oh, to put into
Yeah.
put into it?
Right.
I do wanna be mindful of time, I know we have another
Yeah.
meeting at.
But don't
Go
they
ahead.
pay for demand services then?
Yeah. But you
Yeah,
wanna
they do.
move forward, get the EDC business done, and then we can go into that, or I
Yeah,
can
sounds
do
good,
that?
let's do that, that's, you're all done with yours?
Yes,
Okay, next meeting's audit and finance committee on December 9th at 8 AM, and then board of directors meeting at 9:10 on December 9th, and make a motion to adjourn.
So, second.
Favor? Okay, we'll go right into the next EDC. I wanna call to order the meeting.
Katie, do you have to do anything with the chapter things for this?
No, it'll do it.
It'll do it, okay, good.
And I make a motion to approve the October
Motion for the
28th,
minutes.
2025 meeting minutes.
So moved.
All in favor? Okay, on to the resolution.
The first resolution is in regards to being a coalition member for the Wayne County Brownfield Assessment Funding. The EPA usually puts out funding in the fall to apply for assessment funding. That has been delayed a little bit. But we wanna be proactive and sort of get the next step, so when the government does open up again and the NOFA does come available, we'll be prepared for the application when it does come available. So this is just allowing WEDC to continue to be a coalition member for the Wayne County Brownfield Assessment Funding Act.
Any questions? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
I'm just gonna throw a couple things out if you guys don't mind. Number one, our current consultants, I have serious questions about. The company that applied for and is implementing the coalition grant, I'm familiar with it from the land bank and now from the counties. I was just informed yesterday that they've run out of money. We didn't know that was coming. Some projects like sodas aren't gonna get done.
This is the original million that Stantec was funding?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm just, as we go through the process, I'm not sure the current, I think we need to vet when we go out for who we're gonna have write this. We need to pay a lot of attention to it. Now, again, not just you guys, county and the land bank. I'm not pleased, from my perspective, where I sit, how it's been handled.
And, you know, I just had a thought on top of that, where you have the RFPs for the wastewater, engineers. The wastewater treatment plant that Wayne County just built in Palmyra, you should see who was their engineer, because so much engineering work has already been done, MRV, but so much has already been done, and that's the three big towns in this county, you know what I
Actually,
mean?
6 or 7 going into there,
6 or 7,
towns.
oh, 6 or 7 towns, okay,
Yeah,
that was
communities.
just Palmyra, Macedon.
Walrus in there, Marion's in there.
Oh, Mary's in there too. Okay, so anyway, that was just a suggestion that, you know, a lot of their work is already done, and at MRV charging $205 an hour in the town of Ontario, you know, it's, maybe it would be, maybe they would be exceptional in the sense that they've already done so much of this work. Wayne County's already paid them to do a lot of this work.
They did the Northern Borders grant for town of Lyons. Got funding for the town. I'm not familiar with the grant rating.
That, you know, they've already done a lot.
Current ongoing future planned projects are all part of the information we provided to firms, well, in the RFP. We have a lot of information on all of the respondents' qualifications and the work that they've done. It was part of the interview process, and all of that's being taken in consideration. That's on the brownfield side of things, we have those discussions internally, and I think the goal at the moment is to put us in a position to make sure we continue the work that we're doing. The assessment funding in particular, I think has been pretty vital to a lot of the work going on at the land bank. Not site specific to the project here at Lyons, in a way it has been, but really the ongoing work that we do with the land bank and the big picture plan here of taking the bad stuff and turning it into good stuff, right? And EPA funding has been vital that the EDC as a coalition partner creates the opportunity for us to get more money, right? So as opposed to applying on our own, a coalition can go after more dollars. The overall strategy and utilization of consultants is an ongoing thing that we're always evaluating, and I appreciate any comments and thoughts, and if there's an interest in diving through additional details, we should do that probably.
I'd be glad to give it to anybody who wants them. But yeah, it's a concern.
Move on to resolution authorizing modifications to the brownfield revolving loan to the Wayne County Regional Land Bank.
So this is just changing the approach we had. Initially, the land bank wanted to start paying as soon as possible. We had it as of December 1st as the starting date to start paying the loan back. But due to, situations and requirements that were needed in order to move this project forward, we will be closing on the loans next week. And, but it doesn't allow us to start the loan repayments on December 1st. Because we have to give them 30 days. So what we identified, and Kaylee's also agreed to this, is that we will defer the payment until the project or remediation is complete, and then they'll start having the monthly payments. But they are able to pay early without any penalties, so she is aware that she has that ability if she chooses to.
My understanding from prior conversations, the faster they repay, the quicker we can have more money back in the fund to use and also apply for more funding.
Right, and this gives it either way,
Yeah,
so
okay,
she can start repaying,
'Cause the
there's
more-
no
more we
penalties
get
for
in, the
her.
faster we get it in,
Right,
the better. Yeah.
right, yes.
Is there any type of, it seems kind of open-ended, changing it from a specific date to until the remediation is complete?
Well, typically that is what we have for the brownfield RLF, is because to defer payment until defer payment, but they only pay for interest. Now with the land bank, they have 0% interest, so they won't be paying interest.
At all, right?
So, but we do that deferment for all other RLF programs, that's in our policies and procedures, merely because with brownfield projects, sometimes the project amounts change. So, with that being said, we wanna have the project complete, so we have the full amount and how the payments will be structured appropriately according to the final total amount.
So is there any step or expectation, or how does this get managed to make sure that, like, it actually happens?
What do you,
I
so
think there's an
it's
actual
a,
completion date.
we don't give them the loan funding up front. It's a repayment program, so they have to pay it.
So we don't do
Administrative
anything
expenses.
until, so we
Yeah.
also don't give the funds until it starts?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
then I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. You want the fiscal officer report?
Okay. Account balances, look pretty normal, with all of our accounts. I would say the only major change here was, the BOCES, exchange, because they paid us the full 1 million and, we gave them the 900 back with the new lease agreement. So that's mainly the main update there. With the loan age trial balance, I did sort of change the spreadsheet a little bit, to show all of the borrowers, their original amount, their principal balance, and then their regular payment, and then days late. I did do this on November 4th, and we only have one outstanding payment right now, and that's Kitopia, Ontario. He did say it's in the mail, and we just have to check today.
I would say I like the move. This seems a little,
Yeah.
I like this too, I thought it was a little easier to read.
Yeah, cause
and
the 0 to 30,
straightforward.
30 to 60, it just created a really long spreadsheet, whereas this just has days late, and you have the numbers there. So that's, again, once a new fiscal officer comes on board, he or she can sort of, look at the mortgage office and see what else is available, but that's what I just pulled together. And then budget versus actuals, it's been a pretty good month overall, and I guess one other note, we may have one loan being paid off soon, but that is to be determined, probably, I would say, maybe late November or December.
Which bank account is the grant money from the EPA in that Mark said is almost chewed up?
Okay, so, well, there's two different funding sources, so this one that we have here is the Brownfield Revolving Loan Fund.
Yep.
So that's what is here, and that is the yellow one. So that one, that is not, well, it's,
It's
A lot
up
of
to
it-
pay Stantec from, is it?
no, a lot of that goes towards the land bank
So
project,
it's a,
so
that's a
but-
county
right,
program, you won't see those numbers here,
Right,
it's
yeah,
not
the
part of it.
assessment funding is county-based, so we don't see that here. When we were approving that coalition, it was just basically being a partner of the
We
assessment
have to be
funding.
part of the coalition.
Yes,
with
but
the
we
council.
don't,
So when I'm signing checks and checks are going to Stantec, they're coming out of the operating account, right, the main checking account for the work that they're doing on that brownfield?
so it's no longer Stantec, it's
Montrose.
Montrose. Montrose is the new, QEP for all of them. For the checks, actually, the county pays it directly.
Oh, okay,
Yes, yes. With the brownfield RLF.
so did Montrose buy Stantec?
No, we used Scantech in the past when we first started the program. We had an excellent consultant, his name is Steve Campbell. He moved to Montrose, and at the time we were doing an RFP, seemed like the best thing for us to do was to move with him. Steve passed away last year. So the company, quite honestly, is not as good without Steve. Yeah, that's again, I'm one coalition partner, right? But it's I'm concerned. The coalition partners are the EDC, county, land bank, Newark.
City lines.
And Town Alliance.
Is Town Alliance?
Again, coalition and
FDR.
yes, the coalition, having a coalition in and of itself allows us to apply for more funds. But it is also a coordination between, everybody, and having that local representation, if you will, on the coalition, of local folks. Robin, who's economic development for the village of Newark, attends as many meetings as she can. Provides an interesting perspective, I think, and in fact, we're working with the village on trying to utilize some funding to work through a potential property transfer along the canal there. But getting back to fiscal officer report, are there other if not, Dave, if you wouldn't mind, if we could go into executive session maybe to discuss personnel, that would,
Okay.
yeah.
Motion to go into executive session. All in favor? Frank?
And
Anything else? You wanna talk about that?
Yeah, we
Real estate
could,
breakfast?
yeah, do you wanna give an update on the real estate breakfast?
Sure, there's a one pager in your packet. We had 47 registrations and 50 people attended, in a variety of topics discussed such as housing, impacts of restricted utilities and brownfields. Overall pretty successful and just hoping to grow and continue to grow next year.
It was a pretty big attendance.
Yeah, it was
That's really
great.
good.
I'm sorry that you weren't there, because I know you put a lot of effort into planning it. Next
Thank you.
year, make sure you go.
Okay.
I know Brian said someone needs to be here, but we can forward the calls or something for an hour. I say that because I don't work here. There were 2 takeaways that I had that I just wanted to share. I thought was really well done, really well attended. I did think we would talk more, like we've done in the past, about the prospective properties that we have for sale and available in Wayne County, because we're connecting with the realtors. So if we can't have that on the agenda, maybe we could have some flyers or something to point those potential investors that any of those commercial realtors might be talking, kind of to Julie's point of, we got $60,000 for a property that we could have gotten, even though it was well handled, done out of our hands, but hey, money's money.
He's selling it for $2 million.
It wasn't,
Yeah.
it wasn't us, just to be clear.
No, it was Land Bank, I know,
Okay.
it's us.
Yeah.
That from a person sitting here, that's us,
Okay.
because it's taxpayer.
That was on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark.
No, you got rid
Take
of
that.
I'll put that around.
You got rid of it.
Hey, you're not saying
It's not a
hard.
bad thing.
We'll find out soon.
I think what it
900
does,
filer, yeah.
but what it does is it proves the point is we do have valuable things in Wayne County, and we
Yeah.
kind of have a reputation that we don't. So
Yeah.
that this event highlights the opportunities we have for others. And then I think just more dedicated networking time some way at the table, you know, just more
Facilitated? Is that a good way to-
no,
Okay.
more just time for people to get to know who, like, one of the things the Webster Chamber does at their meeting, if you've ever been, it's awesome. Everybody gets the mic for 30 seconds. And they just say who they are, where they work, and what their role is, why they're there. Just something to get people to know each other. But I thought my comments are only to make it better. I thought it was a great event, and I'm glad I was able to go.
Construction, constructive, anything. Yeah, feedback is great.
Yep.
Always room to improve. I appreciate it.
Okay.
I'll take this opportunity to thank the staff who helped put together, particularly Katie there, did a great job. And, you know, event planning is certainly not my forte, and I appreciate, a lot of work goes into it in the background, and I appreciate you taking this on.
Good job.
She's gonna be,
Including this.
she's gonna be there next year.
Yes.
Yeah, so she's going next year.
Yeah, right. Understood. Heard, yes. Any other business?
Do we wanna share the venue for pitch?
Yes, thank you.
So I met with Northwest Wolcott School District and we decided we're gonna have the 2026 pitch there at their district office board meeting room. It should be nice and cozy. I think it'll be really successful. They're really excited about it. I'm really excited about it. I think it'll do well.
Nice.
It's nice to get to that corner of the county. Like
Yeah.
moving this around a little bit since we
And
have
that
the
is
freedom to
good.
do
Yeah,
so.
it's
They've been
great.
very engaged
More
as a district in
visibility.
the student competition and
No,
Okay.
well, yeah, that's where.
excuse me,
Yeah.
yes, you're right.
Yeah, we'll still let them come, they'll just have.
We'll just have a shorter commute time.
Anything else for me? I can, happy to take comments today and bring back additional information next month. You guys are going. Hopefully you understand this, but if there's ever a topic you would like us to evaluate, review, and bring comments or thoughts to this board at these meetings. Again, I think we've talked about this, consolidating some of the fiscal review stuff. You know, it's there if you wanna read it ahead of time or bring questions to the table, but using these meetings as opportunity to discuss topics like we did this morning on the energy side of things, I think is a good use of our time, and happy to help bring some information or help facilitate those types of conversations.
For me, it's great to hear you guys talking.
Me too.
I think their engagement, it's just, I learn every time you guys open your mouths.
And we appreciate,
Or it gives me something I have to go do.
we appreciate in your role that you are here
Yeah,
supporting
we
this,
really
so.
like that you're here.
You have a unique
Very
background
valuable.
to putting this together with
Yeah,
Community card.
educators and
no, it's great, it's a good tie.
very neat background.
So make a motion to adjourn?
Adjourning, yeah.
Second.
Okay, we're all good. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, and if I don't see you on the 23rd,